The black woman is God.
I raise my flag for my sister, sister. 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 I raise my flag.
Peace and Black Power family. We are back. We are back for the next installment of Real Sisters Code. How are my beautiful goddesses doing?
Good.
Great.
Good.
Great.
That's what's up. So today's topic, we're going to discuss, culture, but I was just, we were just discussing right before we, aired is, what is our culture? Last week, Courtney brought up the topic of when we were discussing femininity versus feminism, and how so many of us maybe weren't even taught that. So we're constantly pushing, be feminine, be feminine, be feminine. Maybe a lot of people don't even know what that is.
Right.
So when we say Black culture and us as Black women, what does that even mean? What do we mean when we say Black culture? So we're going to discuss that today and, kind of dive, deep into it. Okay. So let's everybody introduce yourselves again. I'm your hostess, HAT-SHEP-SUT. And I want these lovely ladies just to just introduce yourselves again. Absolutely.
I am the elder of this group. My name is JELIYA Rain. And I am just so blessed to be in the presence of such strong, beautiful representation of Black womanhood, womanhood, queenhood, goddesshood. I'm an artist. I'm also a public speaker. I enjoy just speaking energy and truth into life and being transparent about everything that we do and just being inclusive in building our community. You can find me on all social media, JELIYA Rain. On everything, it's JELIYA Rain.
Yes.
Ashe.
Thank you, Goddess. Ashe.
Ashe.
Okay.
Permission from the elder to speak.
Yes.
Ashe, my beauty.
Thank you, Queen. I am SHELLY. AMENSET, owner, CEO of Sun Goddesses. I am a creator of natural products as well as just just holistic healing products as well. CMOS, immune boosters and things of that nature. I also, do a lot of skincare with like antifungal, antibacterial issues, eczema, psoriasis, and anything like that I can help anyone with. We have a store. I am part owner of KNS Apparel as well. Myself and my husband, Ken Ward, more own KNS Apparel. And we have a store inside the Forest Park International Discount Mall. And I think that's all I have.
And her bath salts on fire. Detoxing and beautifully. I mean, the way you mix that, Shelly, I'm telling you, my friend in New York ordered everything.
Yeah, she ordered. She ordered 2 big jars, 3 jars, right?
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Ashe, Queen. Got it.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Got to heal my people.
Yes.
Sister Courtney.
Hey, you guys. And that's actually a true statement. She has made me some birthday presents that smelled absolutely amazing.
I'm glad you like them.
Unforgettable.
I only get my shea butters from, AMENSET. That's
unforgettable. Okay, so sorry, I had to make sure I said that.
Thank you so much.
Just to throw some more, you know what I'm saying, sprinkled on that ice cream sundae, right?
Oh, that's right, baby.
My name is Courtney. I am a natural hairstylist, a natural hair enthusiast, a textured hair enthusiast. And I am basically here to be the voice of reason or questions, I would say. Yeah. I question everything. So I'm ready for this. I love being able to sit amongst intelligent individuals to have intelligent conversations. So I appreciate even being invited into this space. So Ashe, Queens.
Ashe.
Ashe.
So yeah, okay. So first thing we want to start off with, if you could, let me see, Shelly, Miss AMENSET.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could just, can you look up, the definition of culture?
Okay, will do. Give me a sec.
Because we always talk about Black culture,
Right.
and what Black culture is, and this is Black culture, but a lot of things that people consider or not consider Black culture may be actually in that category.
Right.
I think a lot of times, other races, when they think of Black culture, they have usually negative connotations.
Okay, so
who we are. So what is
first
culture
one that
mean?
I see? The first definition I see is the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively.
Okay, collective.
Okay, 20th century popular culture. And I'm just looking up culture, the definition of culture. The customs, arts, social institutions, and achievement of a particular nation, people, or other social groups. Biology, there's a different definition. Maintain tissue, cells, bacteria, etc., in conditions suitable for growth. So that's a totally different definition. They gave me like 3 different definitions.
Yeah.
So with that being said, isn't there a definition for different types of culture? Because I'm pretty sure there's a definition for Black culture.
But I like that part when Shelly was talking about the culture. We're talking about pathological culture. Would you read that again?
Okay.
Read that again.
Let me go back to it. Okay, the second one. Is it the second one that I spoke of? The customs, arts, social institutions, and achievement? Or the last one? Maintain tissue, cells, bacteria, etc., in conditions suitable for growth. Culture, like
that's a culture. It maintains the body suitable that it progresses and grows. So that's culture. Black, white, blue, green, that's their culture. It maintains the environment suitable enough for growth.
Right.
Now, when you're talking about the Black culture, I see that there's a rhythm in the praise, is a beat and a movement of joy and anticipation in the things we do when you see us at an elevated state.
Absolutely.
So that's why you see people gravitate towards that, whether it's red, blue, white, purple, or green.
I have another one.
Okay, go ahead.
Scroll down and picked up. Culture can be defined as all the ways of life, including arts, beliefs, and institutions of population that are passed down from generation to generation. Culture has been called the way of life for an entire society as such. It includes codes of manners, dress, language, religion, rituals, arts, etc.
So if we speak about it in that light, then that means that culture changes with the environment, right? As the environment changes, the culture changes. And so then would the question be, what should our culture be in this climate of the environment? And the climate that's coming.
Right. And it's the way we're acting now as a culture. Is this a benefit to us?
Yeah.
In future generations?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And if it is, well, let's talk about it. And if it's not, let's talk about that too. And when did this change?
As
and
well
why?
as what you tapped into last week when we spoke about certain cultures and how they have a code of ethics.
Yeah.
They are governed by the elders who have who pass down those code of ethics, and they have to live by them. They have to abide by them.
Right.
We don't necessarily have that among us as a culture.
Now let's start with what you're saying right there. Ms. Simon said, let's start with that. The elders, governed by the elders. You know, I mean, all throughout our history, like pretty much up until like I say the last, I don't know, maybe I say 20, 30 years, if that, you know, there has definitely been a decline in disrespect towards the elders, or just not an acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
At least from what I've, you know, have seen. Now, when we were growing up, you know, me being in my 30s, Courtney, you know, there had to be a respect for elders. You couldn't sit around elders. There was no profanity. There was no disrespect. There was no speaking out of place. You know,
you couldn't even sit around grown-ups while they were talking. You couldn't even sit in the same room with them when they were talking, and you couldn't speak. You couldn't address an elder by their first name.
Absolutely not.
Say, Miss. You could say their first name, but you had to put a Miss in front of it. Miss Gladys, Miss Diane, Miss whoever, you know. But if you call her by her first name without putting that Miss in front of it, you in trouble.
Completely disrespectful.
Okay, these kids calling their mamas by their first name.
Yes.
And then now let's talk about this. You know, where did we go off as a culture where as though the elders do not know more than everybody, know more than us, where we seek to them for guidance?
I would say the level of comfort.
The what?
Right? Comfort and convenience, right? So at one point, there was a lot of women who band together and they helped each other. They helped each other because they were going through different things in their marriages. They didn't have too many different options. So they made sure that they were together. They made sure their kids were taken care of. They made sure their neighbors were taken care of because there was a sisterhood there, because only they could understand what they were going through. But as time progresses and the environment changed and women were able to do different things for themselves, like get a bank account, not even 60 years ago, and then be able to work and be able to save money and then be able to buy things and own land and go to the bank without having their husbands, right? Then as time progressed, those grandmothers that are the young grandmothers are like, I'm not doing that. I'm not raising no kids. I'm finna go over here to Jamaica. Because I don't want to shell no peas right now. Right. They got peas at the store. Remember, there was a time there wasn't no peas at the store,
right? That
you could buy. That adds to that comfort of your environment. That adds to your convenience. And because of the high amount of convenience, it's the less amount that we deal with each other, the less amount that we want to deal with each other. On one side of it, it's a lot of sides, but on that particular side, I would say, on the outside looking at.
And you know, since you spoke of that, you spoke of shelling peas. That was a tradition and a way that the mother and the daughter, or the grandmother and the daughter and the granddaughter, spent time together. They shelled peas together. They sat on the porch. They shelled peas together. You know, so when they stopped doing that, it kind of snatched some of the tradition away, and it snatched some of the time that, you know, because when grandma drop a gem, you know what I'm saying? You want to be able to catch them gems, and if that means sitting on that porch selling them peas so that you can get that information, you know what I'm saying? So that was a really good point that you made, Courtney.
Because really I think that, thank you, because I think that the government, you know, it's like how they started to take food away from your backyards and put in grocery stores. And that's the thing that took away shelling peas. That's the thing that took away the ability to, you know what I'm saying, come together. And even be in control of what you feed your family.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yep.
What do you think,
Exactly.
Miss JELIYA? What do you think?
I think it started when the crack epidemic started. I think it
Okay.
started
Let's
in
go into that.
California. It started with the breaking down of the nucleus of the
Absolutely.
family and get our women to a point of dependency and then show them independency.
Yes.
In the wrong form
Yes.
because it made our nucleus weak.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you're saying the crack epidemic, you know, especially in the 80s, you know, people in their 30s and 40s, you know, those are, you know, pretty much, you know, our parents.
Those are your grandmamas now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you don't have no respect for somebody who you growing up now. You're in your age. You saw your mama on crack and showing all out. So now you don't have no respect for her.
If you saw your mama
showing any respect,
you know,
your children ain't showing no respect to you.
Right.
Right.
Because the kids was left at home by themselves for 2 and 3 weeks.
Latchkey kids, yeah.
You know, with nothing. The mama was gone chasing that rock, and they was sitting at home. They didn't go to school. They stopped going to school. It was just really, really bad. It was the crack epidemic just really just messed.
So that was the foundation that was breaking down the code.
Yes.
It broke down our code. It broke it down like a shotgun. And
Yeah.
now you and the elders, my mom's friend, you know, the people that's in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
That's what I call elders. 80s and 90s. You coming to 100 strong, you done held in there.
Right.
All right. This is the new.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah.
These are the ones that you find those gems. These are the ones that you find those, you know, to be shelling them peas, you finally get to sit around grown-ups. These kids, the breaking down of the respect line. And then there's no building up because you the same, Timmy. You can say what you want to, baby. Do what you, huh? And then you breaking off that chain, John.
Right.
So they're not learning in the discipline.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the 80s and the 90s time period. Like what you were saying, Goddess JELIYA, like when, you know, at that point, the 80s and 90s, you're right. Especially being from, you know, New York, this happened across the nation.
Yeah.
You know, but especially like, my experience, you know, in New York, you're right. It hit pretty much everybody that I knew.
Every inner city got like,
including myself.
It was like a bomb was dropped in every inner city.
Right.
When crack hit.
And they attacked the men on purpose. See, that's kind of what I wanted to kind of get to. You know, us knowing the root. Because now we see it. Oh, well, you know, the men, they you know, they're not on our level. They don't do this. They don't do that. But where did all this disrespect start? From the disrespect to men to disrespect to our elders. I think exactly what you said. All of it like really started around the 80s and the 80s time period, around that time. Because before that, it was pro-Black. You know, the men were the ones leading the force. They were the ones driving our freedom. There would not be any woman in any position, any Black woman in any position that she's in now, if it wasn't for our men that fought hard for us. They were the front line and we were supporting them. We were their backbone.
As we were intended to be.
Exactly. But then it's like how you said, somehow that fell off. So now when they flooded, you know, our neighborhoods with crack, with heroin, what you were saying right there, a lot of the respect was lost.
Gone. The respect is gone.
You know, and I see that a lot amongst a lot of people in their 30s and their 40s. Oh, well, my mom was a crackhead. She didn't do nothing for me. Nobody raised me. I raised myself. I was home all the time. It was the first time period where mom, grandma, like you weren't really connected. Really, our generation, our grandparents were the ones that were raising us.
Raising them. Yeah. The grandparents was raising them because the parents
were caught up in that.
And, you know, they lost their job. And even, you know, because it's there, we've always had drugs in our community. And heroin is considered a far worse drug than crack ever was. But it didn't stop. It didn't stop the movement. It didn't stop things from happening in our communities. People still were still, you know, activists. They were still fighting for their people. They were still, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had brothers and sisters in my family, immediate family, that were on drugs. My brother, you know, he passed away some years back, but he was on heroin, right? He was on heroin. He went to work every single day. Every single day. I mean, he was a functioning heroin addict. You would have never known it. If you didn't know him and knew that that's what he did, you would have never, ever, ever knew that that's what he did in his spare time. But he turned around and he switched from heroin to crack and lost his ever-loving mind. He lost everything. A job he had been on for 20 years. He lost the job, was homeless, all kind of stuff just happened. So, you know, just know that we had functioning addicts that still went to work and still took care of their family. They just went over here and did what they was going to do. Not to say it was something wrong with it, but they still held on to their responsibility and still did what was expected of them as parents. You know what I'm saying?
I think what you're saying, because, and I think the reason why, you know, we might have seen the first people affected by that still being able to hold on, because certain things were so deeply embedded. The culture was so deeply embedded that even if you were high, even if you was off, you knew there was a certain ground you had to stand. You knew there was a certain code you had to follow.
Yep.
You know, but now once you get now we're talking about the children and the grandchildren of those generations. Yeah. Now it's a complete breakdown. Now they say just in general, like 3 generations, you know, like let's say you come, I don't know, from Italy or something like that. By 3rd generation, they don't even know their language or culture. That's a fact. It takes 3 generations in America for you to lose your culture and your identity. 3, proven fact. You know, when your parents first come over here, they're speaking the language, but now you're born here, so now you're speaking both. And by the time your kids come around, they're not speaking it at all. They're speaking whatever the language is here.
Yeah.
You don't know how many, being from Brooklyn, I can't tell you how many Puerto Ricans I knew that didn't know Spanish. You know what I mean? They couldn't speak. I'm like, how do you have an accent? That's crazy. You know?
Right.
Like, you know,
I grew up next door to a Mexican family that none of us spoke. The only one spoke Spanish was their mom. But they had the accent like they could speak Spanish,
right?
But they didn't know Spanish.
But they was just around the accent of it. But the culture was starting to break down. You know, to where you're more Americanized. You know. So with that being said, like we said, the 80s, 90s, the loss of the disrespect that was instilled. So now you're looking at mom, you're looking at grandma, you're looking now. Let's talk about it. Hit a lot of our men hard. Yeah, majority of our men. Now we're still coming out the struggle. We're still dealing with everything from the 70s, 60s, 50s, please, even before that. So now the men find a way, they push these drugs in there, they find a way to relax. Now, we know heroin and crack of what it is right now. When it first came out, it was new. So no one was sitting there thinking that this drug is going to ruin my whole life. No one thought that, no one expected it. It was unregulated. In New York City, the reason why people started crack was because once you start putting that baking powder in there, you couldn't even detect it as cocaine. And it was free. That movie Paid in Full, that's exactly what was happening. It was a free open market. I remember being a kid, I mean, crack vials, drugs everywhere in Harlem. Kids used to play, we used to be cops and drug dealers. Like it was sick. But this is what we were emulating as children, because we were looking up and we were seeing the adults doing this. We were seeing the kids, you know, older than us doing this. It's sad, but true. And anybody from New York who know and remembers this well. If you were in the projects, you seen the crack vials all up in the windowsills. All on the side, all on the playgrounds, heroin. And we're kind of cycling right and roundabout to that again. They just put more drugs out there, new drugs, fentanyl.
That fentanyl is your choice right there, though.
Oh yeah,
you choosing. life or death. That's their red and blue green the pill. What is it? The red or purple pill, whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. And so that's letting you know that we're at a time where we're in a conscious choice of what we do, how we move. Like you said, codes and things governed us at one time, but that's been watered down so much that people are freely flowing. So you're going to have to hold on. You're going to have to hold on to the principles that you've established to be right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's like, what if you never knew those principles? When the crack era came, Big Mama was done. No more. No more Big Mama.
Right.
No one watching being the matriarch of the family. That was gone. Instilling those principles. It didn't matter, like, if, you know, husbands, grandpa, people died. You know, there's no excuse. A woman can raise a man if she knows what a man was. If you even seen it. So the reason why Big Mama and other people in our, you know, other women in the past 80s, 70s were able to do so was because they actually bore witness to what a man was. They had their father. You had your grandfather. We were only broken apart, like how you said, Sister JELIYA, our nuclear family, when all this came crumbling down, they took our men.
They did.
So
and
now,
replaced them.
Yeah. Now, how you said, I loved what you said before. They made us dependent to become independent.
In the worst way, because just like you said, the representation, you got all that hurt, all of that toxicity of unhealingness going on with the women that's raising these children, because they haven't took the time to heal themselves. They haven't took the time to reflect that. You know, so I think the majority of that is because of all that.
Right.
So that's where the code falls apart once again.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has built their own culture. This is the way I govern myself in my culture. It's not about what grandma and them did.
Yeah.
At some points, but some points it is. You know, like I said, everything has order. But then, you know, you just got to be aware of who you gravitating with and what is their culture and how are they flowing. Do it flow with you? If not, if it ain't high vibrations.
Yeah.
But isn't that the same as picking what you want your culture to be?
Yes.
I was going to go into
we create. We manifest our own world. We create it. Yes, baby. That's what it is. We're coming to the fifth dimension now. Yes. You create your culture. You create your world. And it will sustain because you're staying at that level of vibration. Those things that don't belong there can't even get through there because they're not even there. You understand what I'm saying?
The frequency.
And I think it's, you know, it's easier, like I said, especially from your generation, as far as standards, morals, because it was taught, it was instilled. So now we're speaking to a generation of lost children. You know, we didn't have anybody necessarily, especially people in the 80s, 90s born. Let's not even go to the 2000s yet. Okay. But especially with the 80s and the 90s, a lot of us were raising ourselves. I'm talking about from young. I remember people walking to school. I mean, we're talking about 6, 7 years old.
That's when they came out with that latchkey. Oh, you authorized.
Latchkey kids. That's what they call them.
Because ain't no daddy at the house.
Right. Nope. Nobody was in the house. His dad was either on drugs, out of the house, in jail. And guess what? Mom had to work.
Yeah.
So it was either be at home by yourself or go over to grandma now, if they were around. If they are around.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who, especially, you know, Black people that moved from the South to North, I mean, a lot of our family was still in the South. So now you're having mom and dad just in New York by themselves. There is no body to go to. And like how you said, the breakdown, you used to be able to go to your neighbor's house. You used to be able to go, people were looking out for you. No more of that.
Yeah, the drugs made it so I can't trust you. I don't know you. I thought I knew you, but then it's changed. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like with that whole breakdown, now it leads to a whole generation where, okay, going to you, what you saying, Courtney, now we have to make our own. It's survival now. Okay. So when you're at a point of survival, you will do anything. If you are hungry, starving, I don't care who you are. If you say you are vegan, if you are hungry and starving, there's gonna come a time if you seen a pig walking across the road, okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna get that pig.
It's out of desperation, you
Okay.
know, because it's out of desperation, you know.
It's out of spot. What are you gonna do? Die?
Right.
What are you gonna do? Now, should you hold up your moral code and not go eat that pig and sit there and suffer and find another way to live, or do you just kind of take the easy way out? So what you were saying. So now once the men were out, now here comes the government. Here comes the welfare. There was a great movie called Claudine. Y'all need to go watch it.
Oh yeah, Claudine was a good movie.
What was this movie about?
Claudine, about a mother who I believe she had kids.
It was Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
She had a whole lot of kids and she was on welfare and he had a job. He was a garbage man. Sanitarian. And he worked for the city and he had benefits and he wanted to marry her and she was so scared that she was gonna lose her benefits, and then the welfare officer was coming to her house checking out to see if she had a man living with her. It was just crazy.
And that's what I'm saying.
But it was the
breakdown
truth.
of that. People don't know that. No, they will come in your house, they would check. You couldn't have new things. You couldn't have nice things. The state now is your husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened.
And the women got comfortable with that.
Right.
And this is okay because they had and support.
Right. You didn't have to worry. You knew you knew that you and your child, now it's the same sick tactics they used in slavery. It's just it's a new form.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't see that things.
But wasn't it easier for that to happen when a lot of those women weren't working in the first place?
Well, it was a systematic place. It was on purpose. So I gave the men the drugs.
They weren't
working. She was working. She was a maid or something.
Oh, she was working. But I'm saying, like, during those times, you were coming from a time where men went to work, women were still at home. They weren't able to do so and so. So then when they introduced the drugs, then the trust fell. Now you got to get out. And now here's government like, okay, you kicked him out. He's dead. Of course, you don't have no insurance because at some point, Black people couldn't have insurance to get any of that.
I want to make a correction on what you're saying, Courtney, real quick.
Go ahead.
Where you saying the women were home? When were
a lot of women were home?
No, I'm just saying, like, when was this whole time period that Black women had off?
I don't know about that because see, I was born.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when were Black women chilling at home?
Only by choice. If they was allowed that.
I was about to say a lot of women at one point wasn't even allowed to work. They weren't allowed to even make their own money
by their husbands.
What'd you say?
By their husbands only.
Okay, but you worked for your husband, right?
Yeah,
you worked for your husband.
What do you mean, like staying at home?
But no,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like staying at home.
Some women clean white people. They clean white people's house.
Right.
A lot of us were maids. A lot of us were still working. Like it wasn't like we weren't from slavery. It's like we didn't like just leave slavery and just be like, not doing anything.
I'm at home. Like
because after slavery happened, after slavery happened, what happened?
They wouldn't give
men. Who was hiring the men?
They were welfare was created for white people. It wasn't created for them.
I was about to say, I'm going back
welfare
in my
was
brain.
Created during the Great Depression.
Black women were working when the men were out at the war, creating so okay, my bad. You're correct.
But I'm just trying to say, like, I'm trying to think
that's correct.
Yeah,
I'm saying, you're absolutely correct.
So it's like we went from slavery. So we're talking about like let's just talk about like, let's say when we were freed. Okay.
Yeah.
Emancipation Proclamation. We're talking about the 1860s, mid 1860s.
Right.
right?
Right.
So then
right.
from there, from the 1860s, let's talk about up to 1920. Okay.
Right.
After that whole period when we were free, what you think that white people was hiring black men for what?
Right.
I'm mad.
That's what I'm saying. That's right.
I'm mad.
That's right.
Are you kidding me?
No.
They were. You're gonna find yourself a way to work it out. Okay, I'm not hiring you. If I had to pay you, I mean, I'd rather pay. See, this is where they shipped all these European other immigrants and the Italians, the Irish, the Jewish around this time period to take our place.
We did.
Right.
They weren't like, this wasn't like, oh, you guys are free, let's hire you.
Nope, we just ain't gonna hire you. That's right.
You've been doing everything.
A lot of slaves,
everything.
A lot of black people ended up having to go back and be slaves again because nobody.
A lot of them
went back on
the
plantation after they was already free and became slaves all over again because they could not get work nowhere. Nobody would hire them.
What were you gonna do? You're a blacksmith. Like who's gonna hire you? The only person who's messing with you is your previous master. Yeah. Unless you go, and that's where the big move after the 1920s on it, that's where the big move to the north was because we heard about the factories. We were thinking like, okay, we're free. Maybe these white people, we're gonna work together somehow, some way. It did not happen. In the 1930s, like around where World War I started, like around that time period, nah, they were about the immigrants. They shipped them all in on major ships. Ellis Island, over up in New York, Jersey, whatever they want to claim it as. That's where all them immigrants came in.
To talk about the Irish, when
the Polish
Irish came up, the Polish, and they had the that movie, The Gangs of New York.
Gangs in New York, exactly.
When they came over and they treated them like niggas too. They treated them bad.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't give them nothing. They wouldn't do nothing for them. And then all of a sudden they became the elite. But
that only happened when we started coming up. Because once we started catching on that we were not going to be accepted, here we go. Here comes Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
Georgia. Here comes Auburn. Was it Auburn the street? All that. Here comes Westwood. We realized that these people are not going to mess with us.
Exactly.
They're just as evil as they were 20 years before when we were just in slavery. Just because Lincoln said, hey, it's over. Nah, it was a fugitive slave act. You better be out of the South in like 2 months or you're back a slave again. So many men left. They left the family. Like, let me go up north. I mean, if we, watch Roots. If you watch Roots, that's what happened. If you remember Chicken George and all that.
Chicken George. Yep. Kizzy's son.
Yeah. Had to leave. Yeah. He left like, I don't remember how long it was, but it seemed like decades, years to try to find freedom for his family. So the black man has been fighting for us all up through this time period. We've been fighting to be a family ever since we were freed.
Yeah.
We've been fighting to try to love each other. Like we still haven't even gotten that time. I'm trying to think about the time period where we got it.
And I talk about that a lot.
I'm trying to think about it. I mean, if any
time period when we started going through. I'm sorry.
Period. No, I'm trying to think about the time period where we were the same as, like, I'm just saying, these other races. Because a lot of us like to compare ourselves to, other women. We are not the same as other women. I'm not an Irish woman. I'm not a European woman. I'm not an Italian woman. I'm not English, German, none of that. Right. Indian, Chinese, Japanese, none of that. Were we talking about culture? When did our culture ever have the chance to reconnect from before slavery, how we were, when we were free?
There's always something thrown up, just like you said, all these different other things other than us that represent our culture comes up to distract us, to divide us like crabs in a bucket.
Right. And I don't think people sit there and think about that.
Nope.
The house nigga feel nigga mentality. The house nigga feel nigga mentality.
No, like what you just said, we were talking about World War I, World War II, World War III, Emancipation Proclamation. We went through when the United States was in the Depression in the 30s, we were in our height as a Black people. We were in our height. We had the Harlem Renaissance.
Sure did.
We had Black Wall Street. We had Auburn Ave. We had Roosevelt. I mean, I'm talking about in so many other different pockets throughout the United States where I'm talking about lawyers, doctors, our own hospitals, our own schools, our own everything. I think a big issue, including from the crack era, yeah, but integration was one of the worst things that I think happened to us as a people. What are y'all sentiments on that? I think integration was the worst things because no longer did we want to take the Black buses. No longer did we want to go to the Black hotels. Once white people say, you know what? Let's make them feel wanted.
Let's take their money so that they don't have it. They can just keep giving us their money. They want to be a part of us. So they want to be connected with us so bad. Let's take their
everything
money.
fell apart. And all the money left our
community.
Instantaneously.
But wait. All right. So yeah, that's a piece of it. But I also think that we're a smart individual, right? As a people. And when you start being blown up on your buses and blown up in your churches and your street is being blown up, yeah, I want to get on the bus with you. Because are they going to blow this bus up?
You bring that point up too. You're right. Fear. You're absolutely right.
Are you going to blow this bus up? Are you going to drown us in this pool or put poison or acid in a pool where your kids swim? Yeah. Yeah. I understand. I mean, all those, I just feel like it's so many different pieces.
It is. No, but we need to, like how you said, I think that's an excellent point. You know, like how you saying, like, you look at like down here, like the history of Lake Lanier, right? That's what it's called.
And that's all over. There's like hundreds of places like that.
And that's just one place that they flooded out. It's several other places.
It's hundreds of places like that throughout America.
Where Black people lived and thrived and they just destroyed it. They flooded it out.
Build
Central Park. What about Central Park?
Yeah,
Central Park.
Yep.
They built interstates through it. It's like if you can't beat them, join them. Yes, it might have messed us up, but you are correct, Shep. That's when we were at our highest in marriage, in money, in community. We were at our highest, but what do you do when your environment of, okay, yes, we're thriving, but I can't even go to church?
Right.
How do you keep your culture separate when you're living in that much fear? Because we don't bomb them in their churches.
No.
We don't care what you doing. Could care less, actually.
Right.
But you are so scared of us having a little piece of community.
Absolutely. Because we are the first. We are the beginners of this whole earth.
Correct.
Exactly.
So there's nothing more fearful than us. Even today, like the richest white man in the world couldn't stand next to the brokest Black man. He would still fear him.
Exactly.
Because they know the power that we hold.
True.
And they know how much we don't know about ourselves that they have, that they know about us.
They know about us.
Even today, on where we stand as a culture, we still a lead in the world. There's only two ways to be. Like, I don't care about anybody. What anybody says, it's either you're white or you're Black. Yeah. You either dealing with some white culture or you dealing with Black culture.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, nobody ever said, oh, you know, I want to be like Indian. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I never heard it.
No,
I never saw nobody, you know.
I said when I looked at their marriages, like, yo, I want to be dressed like.
I mean, yeah, they have some nice stuff. They do have some nice stuff. You know what I'm saying?
But other than that, you're correct. Like,
you should see over in India, Asia, all over Asia, Russia, Everybody want to be a rapper. Everybody wants to have rhythm. Everybody wants to have style. We should let them corny like who they were. We never even asked for them to like. They don't even consider it Black culture. That's all they constantly doing. From country music, bluegrass was ours. Country was ours.
Rock was
ours.
Mm-hmm.
Doo-wop, every form was ours.
And they stole it. They stole it.
We let it steal it. We started it.
Yeah.
Right. It's still out.
We started it, but you know, you got people like Jerry Lee Lewis going to the juke joint, sneaking in the juke joint, listening to Black people sing, writing every lyric down, and then taking it and making a song out of it.
But that's a part of their culture.
Huh?
That's a part of their culture.
Yes.
Yeah. What I'm saying is Jerry Lee Lewis was a rock and roll star. He was like the arch nemesis to Elvis Presley. But
yeah,
he specifically went to the hood to the Black people's juke joint and took all of their music. And
they still doing that
and made records of it. Right, watch that movie Great Balls of Fire. It tell you the whole story. They show him stealing those people's music.
And they do to this day.
I was gonna say that's what they've always done. That's why we're now, when you talked about what our culture should be going forward, or what it is that we can take from now, I can't speak on a lot of different people's sides, right? Like, yes, I was born at the end of the 80s. No, my parents weren't on drugs. I didn't see drugs. I wasn't around drugs. I don't know what crack was. I never knew what that was until I was older. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I still have never been in the same room with the substance. So I don't know what vials look like. I'm asking questions. If a Negro pull out a spoon around me, I got plenty of questions. Only because I seen movies. Like, I don't know those particular things. But what I do see that's happening right now is there is an age of information that we're passing down to these children that wasn't necessarily passed down to us. There's also still a hurt we're passing down to these children that was passed down to us.
Yeah.
Not as hurtful as it was the generation before.
Of course, yeah.
But it's still trickling. So
but the effects could be worse for us.
The what?
The effects. The effects of it. The effects of it.
The effects of this is worse only because everything is televised. Everything is in front of you. And so when you're a person, you know how you hear people say things like they're empathetic and they can feel this and they can feel that. Everybody has that unless you're a psycho.
Yeah.
That's not a unique trait to have a feeling. You're a feeling about somebody or something. That means that you're connected. If you don't feel anything, if somebody's standing in front of you crying, I don't care if it's a complete stranger.
Yeah.
You are a
sociopath. A sociopath.
Yeah.
That's what you are. If you don't feel nothing, and you see somebody crying, or you can watch somebody be murdered and not feel nothing, or you can watch something and it don't affect.
Well, I have to address what you're saying right there, because actually a lot of studies have been done. Okay. And studies have been done. It's people who are not Black. I'm talking about white people. Like, they've done studies like, you know, if you see somebody Black getting hurt.
Oh yeah.
If you see somebody, you know, even a child,
even a child,
baby.
Yep.
There is no sympathy.
There is none. Yep. I've seen some of those.
So this is where I think we've gone across. And I like what you said, Courtney, about, you know, with the social media. I think that what is happening is that, and I mean, when I was coming up, when we were coming up, there was what white people do and what we did.
This is desensitizing us.
Yeah. We're not talking about 30-something years ago. We're talking about 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. 15-something years ago. Okay. We ain't even hit the 40 yet. So it's like it like what dazzles my mind how everybody thinks we're the same now. So it's like when I see Black children just completely disrespectful. I'm like, it reminds me of Billy, of Emily. When you used to sit there, you went to their house and you were like, they speak to their parents like that? They could be disrespectful like that? Your parents think you a whole, like, they respect you that much? Where you have a voice where you could take over everything. You're not paying not one bill up in the house, but yet this is your room. My parents are like, this ain't your door. Open the door. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
right.
Are you kidding? Ain't no privacy up there.
Listen,
I
can attest of having kids in the last 15 years, 10 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that I have raised them completely different, but the same, but different.
Okay.
Because I'm different.
Mm-hmm.
My patience level is different. And I had to unlearn some things from my parents to be able to give my child what I think. We're parenting as our parents parented to what we feel like we were missing, what we needed. And a lot of us feel like we didn't have a voice, right? So whereas I might have a full-blown conversation with King Allen, my 6-year-old, and I'm asking him about his feelings. And in the same 5 minutes, tell my 16-year-old, I don't give a shit about your feelings. I don't want to hear that. You are the oldest. This is what it is. And you need to understand that.
Right.
And if it's really, really hurting or bothering you, yes, we can talk about it.
Right.
But that's my level of, you're the adult. Well, not the adult, the oldest.
Yeah.
I've been through different things. So now I have different kinds of feelings, right?
Yeah.
That goes back to that emotional piece of why a lot of those parents who were back that was crack addicts who are now extra supporting their freaking sons that's 40 years old that's living in their basement because they feel bad for the fact that they weren't there. That guilt is a strong, strong disease.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of people are functioning in this world, raising these children with guilt and hurt. You see those tiger moms that those Asians who they push their kids. You need to be this, you need to be that. Their children are cutting off their hands after they get their doctorates. Like, I don't care about what you say. I don't want to do this. Like, so you say, okay, yes, we need this culture and we need the elders to tell us X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But as the environment changes and you see all these different things on social media and they're desensitizing you while sensitizing you, making you sensitive to everything, they're desensitizing you to everything at the same time, which is weird.
Very much so. Yeah.
Numb down, dumb down.
Because remember when the war was going on and it was like live on TikTok? Like there was live bombs. Everybody was like, whoa, sending it, oh, ha, 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 to a next post. Scrolling. This was live. People were dying. Kids were dying. You could see it. Never before could you see a live war happening. And they were scrolling past it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're right. Where you come to the the whole desensitizing of this our culture. So it's like, I don't know. It's like if you watch Roots or Goodbye Uncle Tom, and we show that to our children now, what will they think of it?
I don't know if that's a great thing to do. I'm going to say, I talk to a lot of little kids and I have a little one.
Yeah.
And when you show them things like that, my child doesn't like white people.
That's all right. Right.
Yeah, but you cannot go out into the world with this particular attitude and stand.
But my argument is this. We were able to. Now, after I sat and watched Rosewood, like, I'll be real. White people, like, I distinctly remember when Rosewood came out, distinctly. Me and my friends, we went to go watch it. White people left about 10 minutes early. Okay? I promise you they were leaving the movie theater. Because they knew by the time we was revved up, So it's
But
like,
you know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's a good thing, because I think there has to be a balance, because see, I think that every single other race, and I know this about from being around other races, practices racism.
Mhm.
Oh, they
I like
practice
to call it silent racism.
Mm-hmm.
Where
But
they
remember,
sure that they tell them, Mexicans, you don't hang out with no black friends, you don't get married to no blacks, you don't hang out with them. The Africans too. This is not, I'm not just naming whites and Indians and what, I'm talking about other people of our own race. I have family members who are West Indian. So I've heard both sides. A lot of my family's from Barbados. We have family from Trinidad. So their whole impression of us as Black Americans is different than what we think it is. They have been told certain things. I'm saying, from coming from West Indian background, you're told Black Americans, they lazy. Black Americans don't work hard. Black Americans don't know what they have. Black Americans are spoiled. Because you talking about Barbados, you're talking about Trinidad, where it's like they saying we real desolate over here. Y'all around the whites. But at the same time, I don't think that they are actually, understanding our, the way that our situation. So Miss JELIYA, just real quick before you leave, can you just add on that real quick?
Man, trying to come back on. I'm trying to come back on.
Okay. Because I know you have to go.
Hey, it doesn't look like she feels good at all. I was about to ask her, are you okay?
And we thank you for being on, Sister C. That's what I'm saying. You laying down what's going on with you just to help the people.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay. We've been had this little cold running through this house, but that sea moss and everything pumping it up.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I had to leave for a minute.
It's okay. It's okay. No, we were just saying, just talking about, us being a people, and like, just, some of the stereotypes that are placed on us. We're not just talking about whites. We're not just talking about Mexicans or other people outside of our race. We're talking about even within our race.
In our race. Just be aware of the energy.
Yeah.
Spirit comes back the same.
Yes.
Unless it's at a higher vibration.
Yeah.
Courtney said, we create and manifest our own environment in order to elevate as a people.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do, and recognize that you can't help everybody, and everybody ain't gonna be for you.
Yeah.
Recognize the ones that's for you and what you can do, because otherwise we're living in a season now where time is really, really short, and your purpose is so much more important than anything. So as you govern yourself and create your environment in the culture that you have designed, understand it's for your purpose. This right here, Goddess Chef, this right here, Courtney, this right here, Sister Shelly, is our purpose. So with the high vibrations that's going on right now, you need to look at this. I know you're looking at the whole thing as a whole, a whole world or a community, but you have to break it down further than that, to the nucleus. Again, like I said, they took our core array. So you got to go back to your core, our foundation of our men, how we treat each other as women in order to help or even assist our future generation. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
That's what I got to say.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Goddess.
Yes, thank you.
Feel better.
Wisdom, like always. I know you had to leave early, so we will definitely see you back.
Feel better.
Okay, blessings, love.
Blessings.
Yes, feel better.
Peace and love, sis.
Peace, baby.
Yeah.
She said.
Yeah.
She held out for as long as she could. I love it.
Yes. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Love for the people. Like, you know, we don't take it seriously enough. Like our sisterhood, like, you know, all these things. This is going to be a part probably 2 and 3.
Yeah.
What we're talking
And you
about.
know what? Also, there's no accountability out here.
Mm-mm.
None.
They
just running amok, and nobody is saying, "Hey, brother, you really need to take care of your children. You really need to take care of your wife. Hey, sister,
but
you
I
don't
think
really
that,
need to be wearing that. You don't really need to be walking around here in panties like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no accountability.
I think that goes back to what Courtney was saying. Where you were saying just the not being taught part. That's so
not being taught, and
that's where we step in. That's where you know, and I get that. I get that. A lot of people weren't taught that. A lot of people didn't get those values instilled in them. Didn't get that, you know, the mannerisms and the etiquette. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if we know, we can't let them run amok like that. We can give them
so it's like, is it our fault then?
It's not our fault. But if we want to establish our culture, establish it to where it's with codes and ethics, we have to start making it our business to give them that information.
Absolutely.
So that we can become better.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think at a certain line, you know, at a certain point, it's not, we can't keep blaming other people.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it's a fine line. That's why I say it's a fine line.
Right.
It is. I do agree that they were the root. White people, the white structure, everything. It was the root of our problems existing today.
Right.
Hands down.
Everything they do is strategically thought out. Everything they do is strategically thought out when it comes to Black people.
I absolutely believe that. But like how Courtney said, we got too much information now. It's all out in the open. Nothing's hidden. The roots isn't hidden. Goodbye, Uncle Tom. The documents, they're there. See, the one thing about the devil and demons is they gotta tell you the truth because they're under God. They have to tell you the truth. Just because you're not listening, I might have put it in a cartoon. I have it on the internet. You didn't research it. You didn't look it up. What's that have to do with me?
And it's not in one place. That's the thing. Everybody thinks all of the information gonna be right here. All of the information is in this book right here. All of the information, information is spread about. And you have to be willing to go and research. Find it in all of these different places.
You have to research. You have to look it up. You have to care enough. Like I sit back and I think and I look at all the races. I had to interact with them daily. And I'm like, we're the only group of people who don't care about our legacy, who don't care that Black people may be extinct soon. It's not okay.
It's not.
Pac always said, I'm the product of a dying breed. And I remember when I first heard that, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what does he mean by that? What is he trying to say? And we talking about 1990, what, 3, 4, I don't know, whenever he came out the song, right? We're the products of a dying breed.
And you know,
there are races of people who are extinct. They're not here anymore. We're the Aztecs. I mean, there may be some remnants. Some people have some stuff in them. I'm just saying, where are they?
Right.
Who are they? Are we okay as Black women being extinct one day? For somebody to never see somebody look like me, you, Courtney, never again. Why is that okay? Where's the pride within us?
Right.
The black
I
woman
raise
is
my flag
God.
for my sister. I raise my flag 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 for my sister. I raise my flag.